So the technique which I say, the method which I am talking about is like triple R. Triple R.
Triple R.
You have also
Mm.
used triple R. Okay. Which I think you are not aware, which I am going to tell you now, and you will be amazed and you will say that okay, that's correct. So, what is that you would like to ask today?
Actually, ma'am, one question is always roaming in my mind. So, because sometimes I feel confused, and sometimes I feel, is it possible? I think I'm not putting that much effort, so that is why it is not appropriate and it's not suits me actually. So, first of all, without beating around the bush, I'm just cut to the short. I'm asking the question. So my question is, ma'am, like many people out there on YouTube and other platform, they say one thing, like we can achieve a certain level, especially like speaking English or fluency, we can achieve in a particular time, like 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, or like 2 months and 15 days. Oh my goodness. So, ma'am, is it true? Is it true? And exactly how long does it take to speak or to fluent in English, ma'am?
Okay.
What's your opinion and what's your perspective
I must say that is
on
a
this?
frequently asked question, and I was also thinking of sharing my thoughts and ideas about it based on my personal experience, which I what I think about it. But first, as you said, that is it possible? I like, is it true? So I must say that about 15 days or 1 month, I'm not sure, but we can say if the person is advanced there, like he has already achieved the level, just wants to polish, then yes, in 1 month it polishing English can be possible, but not like
Hmm,
learning English and becoming
hmm,
fluent and confident at English is possible in 1 month. At least 6 months are required if you are just
hmm,
even for intermediates, and if you are a beginner, I must say that a lot of time, like 2 to 3 years required. But here today I want to introduce a very nice technique or method, you can say, which helped me a lot, like drastically. And there
hmm,
are certain other examples too, which I would share later. People who have achieved using the same method, maybe they were not
hmm.
aware of this method, but unconsciously they were using. So
Okay.
far I have connected to like more than 700 people, and I have personally trained more than 200 people. So I recognized a pattern in all of them. Like I was doing
Hmm,
my observation throughout teaching and throughout connecting to people by observing and all. And then I pondered upon my own journey to like what was the special and what is the different thing when I compare to the people like you and I who have achieved in 2 years the fluency, and people who have been learning for many many years and still they are,
hmm.
complaining the same
Struggling.
that, yeah, that
Hmm,
they are not able to see conspicuous changes in themselves. And again, I have students which I compared and I observed and I found. Okay, so the technique which I say, the method which I am talking about is like triple R. Triple R.
triple R.
You have also
Hmm,
used triple R. Okay, which I think you are not aware, which I am going to tell you now, and you will be amazed and you will say that that's correct. Okay, triple R, R first R, that is a triple three different phases. First phase,
okay.
second phase, and the third phase. So the first
Hmm,
phase, that is R1, that is registered memory, which we remember
register.
again and again, recall again and again, which took place there in the last 15 to 20 years before you started your
Hmm,
actual journey in a serious mode. Before that, you
hmm,
registered a lot of things in your subconscious, conscious, your bank, memory bank, and whatever you call it. That is a register memory R1, which we are
hmm,
that is very close because it took a lot of time, like 15 years, 20 years, 40 years, according to the person age. They
hmm.
can now analyze that how many years they have been registering a lot of information. And that
Yes.
phase I call is unconscious, because
Unconscious. Hmm,
you can also relate with it. When we were in school, we didn't have I
Hmm.
personally didn't have the Google around me or phone or something like that to search pronunciation or meaning or anything. Even I was kind of
Yes.
a person who trusted the topper of the class. Okay, he is reading chapter, he is pronouncing, maybe they know everything. I was like, इनको
Yes.
सब पता है. And we pick the
Yes.
pronunciation from
Yes.
them or other people. Like
Hmm.
it got registered in our subconscious mind. Whether no,
Hmm.
it's not like we were not speaking. I was not speaking, I was not using. But when I started, somewhere that particular pronunciation, somewhere unconsciously I heard or read, maybe
Yes.
in my school days, in my college days, like that 15 years, that registered memory,
Yes.
unconscious phase. Okay.
Exactly.
Now
Hmm.
comes to the phase number two, which is
Hmm.
R2, and that is relearn. Now, that
Yeah.
requires unlearning and then relearning. Now, that is
Yes.
conscious phase, where you put conscious efforts, not unconscious. 15 years you have
Hmm.
been learning
Concept.
unconscious, that registered already.
Yes.
Now you have to unlearn
Hmm.
first that registered memory, maybe wrong pronunciation,
Hmm.
wrong sentence structure, past form of using it, like did plus past form you are using, and all that, whatever it
Hmm.
is. Now unlearn
Yes.
and relearn. That is a little
Yes.
difficult task to do, and we all have to
Challenging.
do. This is what I have
Exactly.
found are many people able to do via
Hmm.
listening to many people podcast. These days we have plethora of content available, it is easily
Yes.
accessible, taking
Hmm.
classes, taking feedback, doing stuff, a lot of stuff people are doing, and that is
Hmm.
possible. It requires a lot of effort and people are doing, I do agree, that is
Yes.
conscious. But they, when it comes to phase number 3, okay, that is what, let me tell you first, that is our number 3, that is repetition.
Hmm.
And that
Repetition.
requires, this phase I call requires your dedication, discipline, determination. Okay.
Hmm.
So people like you and I completed whole pattern, like the registered memory, we unlearn and relearn, and then we do the
Hmm.
repetition. But people
Repetition.
who are
Hmm.
struggling still are, what they are doing is, they are doing the second thing, which is unlearn and relearn, but they are not switching
Unlearned.
to the third one.
Hmm.
And
Repetition.
yeah, the third
Hmm.
phase that requires your discipline and determination and dedication.
Determination.
And then
Hmm.
what happens, because these two phases are very weak. Why? Because we
Okay.
consciously give it 1 year to 2 years, but that are the
Exactly.
first phase is heavy on these two. Now
Hmm.
the people who are not able to see changes, their repetition, their third phase is very weak. Maybe
Hmm.
in the second phase they are watching, I have come across such people watching a lot of videos, learning a lot of words,
Yes.
noting down,
Yeah.
reading, but their third phase is very weak. And then the
Hmm.
first phase, which is registered memory, which is unconscious,
Memory.
that is heavy on you.
Hmm.
And you are the live
Exactly.
example of all three. I am the live example of all three. I have a student, I'm not going to take his name, maybe he's
Hmm.
40 or 42 around. This
Hmm.
thought came into my mind because of him. Why? I
Hmm.
come across people like you who are able to see conspicuous changes. Maybe you had sessions with me for 3 months, right? Earlier 2 months and
Yes,
then
ma'am.
1 month. Yeah.
Hmm.
3 months.
Again,
And
again.
you were able
Yes.
to analyze yourself and do the things repeatedly what are needed.
Rep- yes.
And
Hmm.
many people like you who are able to do the same. But a few
Hmm.
people I found that they are continuously taking classes for 5 months to 6 months to 7 months. Not only from me, for many other people too. And they talk to
Yes.
me randomly
Hmm.
also. When they talk, they say, like, I have been taking classes, but I am not able to see changes because you are in the phase two
Hmm.
and you are not moving to the
Hmm.
next. And phase two is for six
Exactly.
months, 1 month. When we see technically, like 15 years, you did that unconsciously, that consciously
Yeah.
required double time, 30 years.
Yes. Exactly.
But if you add the
Hmm.
third phase in it, it will be shorter.
Hmm. Yeah, it will be reduced. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, then
Hmm.
it you will be able to achieve in 2 years, not less than that, 2 years at least.
Hmm.
Because that 15
Yes,
years
at
already,
least.
the
Hmm.
unconscious one is already heavy on your brain. So this is
Exactly.
how that came from him. So what happened? He said
Hmm.
what happened when he joined. We had 10 sessions,
Hmm.
just normal topics, and I got to know about his and
Yes.
all that discussion. Later, I got to know one day that he's very weak at past tense, like second
Okay.
forms. He is habitual of using only first form almost always.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
conducted 3 classes on past tense properly, like not like teaching grammar pattern, but I asked him to use second
Hmm.
forms. Like I brought some kind of
Yeah.
topics which required him to use second forms while elaborating the
Hmm.
topic. So what happened?
Yes.
I gave the first forms of the verbs, and then I asked him to use second forms and make sentences and all that. We did three in 3 sessions. In fourth, fifth, he
Hmm.
is able to use second forms. So during fifth
Okay.
5 classes, he was able to use. So do you
Hmm.
think that the person for 15 years using first form can change in 5 hours, in 5 classes, if he is not switching to the third phase?
Without switching, ma'am, I think no, I can't
No.
imagine. Yes, but
Yeah.
because I think it also you told like because of repetition, like continuously you took 3 classes, and then he was able to like on fourth and fifth session he was little bit able to articulate their thoughts. The like past form was able. So
Hmm.
without repetition, I think no, I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. So for 5 days, he's able. Okay. Now 6 day, I will
Hmm.
switch to the next one. I have to cover other topics too. I cannot stick to that one.
Yes.
And otherwise, you will also say, like
Mm.
the student will also say, like you are just passing time, or maybe you are trying something like that.
Mm.
I have to switch, but you
Exactly.
have to repeat. You cannot switch with me. Like
Yeah.
you have to switch, but you have to repeat that. The person didn't repeat. Okay. The person
Exactly.
didn't do anything. He used to come, and after 10
Mm.
classes, I again brought something which he has to elaborate, in past. Then he made the same mistake. He is
Mm.
using first form. Then I asked him what. Then he asked
First
the same question, how to become, how to do. Answer is the same. Third phase, where is the third one?
repetition.
And this is
Repetition.
for everything who is watching the video, and that is why I plan to make a
Mm.
video on it, because people have to
Mm.
understand that third, the repetition is way more essential, because your first phase, which is registered memory, is very heavy on you. You cannot remove it in just few
Exactly.
hours, few months. How can you just rely on that?
Mm.
Okay, in 3 months I will be able to speak good English. No.
Mm.
We all
Yes.
know that we have seen many people like Lata Mangeshkar, or great singers, or renowned people. They, even actor and actresses, they practice every single day. In
Yes.
music industry, that is called riyaz. They do riyaz for
Yes.
singing. Yeah,
Yes. Mm.
every single thing needs repetition, no matter what it is.
Yes.
So this is what I wanted to share with everyone, and I hope that will help them to understand well
Yeah,
and do.
definitely. Yes, ma'am. Definitely, it will be helpful for everyone, included me as well. And one more question, ma'am, I would like to ask is if you allow me.
Sure, sure, sure.
So, ma'am, actually, it's my personal question. Whatever I think, like personally, ma'am, is there any difference between like okay, we are talking on online, like okay, we are one to one right now, but we are not facing physically to each other. So, is there any difference to talk people in a physical environment or a online environment? Because why I am asking, ma'am, actually, I feel a little bit fear when I am in physical environment
Hmm.
because I today itself I went to attend the PTM and I'm very much comfortable. I don't feel nervous at the time of delivering my thoughts in English with anyone. But I was feeling like no, my English was not that much up to the mark as I can present online or I think on audio call very beautifully, but not as compared to online. I was not up to the mark at that moment. I observed this thing. So ma'am, what do you think, and what's your take on this? Is there any difference between offline and online?
Yes, there is a huge difference. I personally have experiences like you. When I
Hmm.
started in the first year, When I was talking to many people, I felt quite confident and fluent, and I'm able to.
Hmm.
But whenever somebody asked me a question in person, like I was in the PG, I felt that
Hmm.
I go blank and I hesitate, or maybe I don't think that my whatever I am thinking is right, or I should say, I switch immediately, used to switch to Hindi. That's what I experienced.
Hmm.
So I think there is a huge difference. Now I understand
Hmm.
it. It is why it is not because of English. English
Hmm.
first
Hmm.
is that, since again the in first phase we had a lot of hesitation and fear. We never
Yes.
spoke.
Hmm.
And that is heavy on our present.
Present time.
We learned the language. We were not able to
Hmm.
remove the fear entirely in person. And that can be because of
Exactly.
the inner maybe anything, like I am an introvert, so it is sometimes difficult for me to connect even in Hindi too and all that. But sometimes when somebody
Hmm.
asks question in English and I'm able to, a few times I have come across such environment where I'm able to present very well in English
Hmm.
without
Hmm.
hesitation,
Hmm.
without. So first I
Yes.
feel that we are not habitual of, since like
Hmm.
childhood, that those first phase, in that first phase we were very timid, we were doubting, we had fear, we
Yeah.
had hesitation, and we didn't work on it. That's true.
Hmm.
We didn't work on
Yes.
it in person, still we didn't
Yes.
work.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Exactly,
that is
ma'am.
still there.
Hmm.
When we face, that is still, the fear
Yes.
is still there, the hesitation is still there,
Still.
and the
Hmm.
doubt is still there. So I think the way we have worked virtually, like practicing it again and
Hmm.
again, face it again and again,
Yeah.
that is why you are habitual now. You have to do the
Yes.
same, encountering people again and
Hmm.
again, talk to them. Once you are habitual,
Yeah.
Shivani, see, if you do it for 10 times now, you will be like, now I'm fine. This is all about
Yes,
habit.
ma'am. But,
Yeah.
ma'am, it's very difficult to find out people physically. I think you already know
Yeah.
because we both are now in the same city. So
Hmm.
that is why it's very much difficult to find out people physically with whom you can talk. Only like, okay, you can talk with your kid and your husband if they allow. Otherwise, no, ma'am. It's very much difficult.
I understand it. What happened a few days ago, I went to the market for just in the stationery shop, and I don't know why. It was a big
Hmm.
one. I don't know why I was speaking English there.
Oh my goodness.
Unconsciously. I didn't know.
Hmm.
So sometimes maybe
Hmm.
it is just
Yeah.
the fear is holding us, and the we are not habitual.
Hmm.
That is why these two reasons, which I can clearly right now see.
Yes.
I'll do the little brainstorming too about others too, like what can be the major reasons behind. But I feel like first is that fear is heavy still, the hesitation is still
Yes.
there, we didn't encounter
Yes.
yet.
Exactly.
Second is that we are
Hmm.
not habitual. Once we are habitual,
Hmm.
you can simply see like anything which you are like you are, which is holding you back right now. If you do it 20 times, 30 times, 50 times, what then? What?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely, it will be reduced. It will be
Yeah, it will
removed.
be. Yeah. So
Hmm.
we have to just
Yes.
work on that part now. So if you want to
Hmm.
speak publicly confidently, go and do again and again, do again and again. I know it's difficult to
Yeah.
find people,
Yes.
but yes, that's how we can overcome this. I hope this to help you.
Yeah, definitely, ma'am. It will help me. And thank you so much for answering my two questions. And yes, and ma'am, if you ask anything else, then yeah.
I think this is what I just wanted to discuss. And we are now aware of this one thing, that we overcame the fear and speaking virtually by doing it multiple times. So this
Hmm.
is the
Exactly, ma'am.
actual practical thing that we did here, and then we
Yes.
accomplished. The same we have to do in person, and then we will be able to accomplish
Yeah, in
that.
person. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay
think
then.
there for this exercise I have to shift in any other city. That's even then I think then only I can find some people with whom I can. But yes, I think, ma'am, in Sri Ganganagar market we have some shops or showrooms. They are like owners. They are very good at English because once I went, I think during winter time. That time, that lady was a owner of that shop, and she was speaking good English, and
Oh,
I just interacted with her only. So that is why, yeah, we can find people in
we
market.
have to.
Yeah.
Yes, we have to find. Even I was thinking to
Yes.
have a session with you offline someday. So let's see
Yeah,
if I
ma'am.
would be able to. I was
Definitely.
thinking to meet you in person
Mm,
and then record a podcast. So that would be good for both of us too, because we I am also not
exactly.
that much comfortable in person, to be honest. Like it's not about my English, it's about my inner maybe belief or doubt, or
Yeah.
maybe I'm not comfortable, that is why. So that would be good, and
Mm,
at the same time for audience also it would be something different and new. So
different. Yes, yes, yes. Exactly, ma'am.
yeah, and
So,
people like my
yeah.
audience know you too very well. Like not only my, you have been over multiple YouTube channels, so maybe people know.
Ah, yes.
And in our group,
Yes.
at least try to thrive, and then our personal group, people know you.
Yeah,
So
yes, ma'am. Yeah,
yeah,
try to thrive WhatsApp group and other groups also. People know me very
hmm.
well.